San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime use.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? And a happy Wednesday to everybody out there in America's finest city. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Live and locally each every day from 10 to 2. Today, taking you up to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show and Sam Levitt getting you ready for Padres baseball. We already have a lineup out. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. But let's talk about the rotation to start things off. Now, I went through last night, and remember the conversation that we had, Frank, early in spring, the article that Kevin Acee put out about what an average number 5 starter does for a playoff team?
Yes.
So I went through and I put together all of what I did, and this is probably why the numbers are slightly different. I took out of all the playoff teams that made the playoffs last year. Now, there were the 12 teams that made the playoffs last year, which would be, I'm going to pull it up real quick, but it was Toronto, Seattle, Cleveland, New York, Boston, Detroit, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, LA, Chicago, San Diego, Cincinnati. I took each team's 5 starters that made the most starts and then basically filled them in 1 through 5 based on how well they did last season. Because over the course of a 162-game season, your number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 has continued. It fluctuates throughout the year. And from there, it took the averages of what a number 1 starter would do for a playoff team. A number 2 starter, number 3 starter, number 4 starter, number 5 starter. Kind of put a picture, paint a picture of what Padres starting pitching needs to do this season. Because what's the biggest problem with this team, I don't want to say a problem, but probably their biggest area of need, in my opinion, is the rotation. Sure, some people might say it's the bats sometimes, but I don't really think it like that because, the lineup is going to hit. Fernando is not going to finish the season without a home run. He's not. A lot of people might say he is because they want to be negative. He's not going to do that. Jackson Merrill is not going to slug under 300 forever. Jackson Merrill's batting leadoff today. Somebody's listening to the show, maybe. Manny Machado he's Manny Machado, guys. I mean, he's eventually going to be able to pull his way out of this. That part of this team is going to sort itself out. But the rotation, that's where the real decisions are coming. And they're starting to come faster than a lot of people think. Because at the top, the Padres have exactly what every playoff team dreams about. It's what every playoff team needs. What every playoff team wants. When you look at the top of the rotation, and we're going to take a deeper dive into this a little bit, but season-long averages per rotation spot, give or take on these numbers. A number 1 starter, on average, for a playoff team, usually has a 4.6 WAR around there, 14-7 record, sub-3 ERA at about 2.82 on average, starts about 32 games, pitches about 188 1/3 innings. Got a fielding independent pitching on average about 3.22, a 1.09 whip, and an ERA plus of about 128. Number 2 starter, relatively the same. About a 3.7 WAR on average, a 3.19 ERA. Usually starts 32 games, gives you 182 innings on average, a 118 ERA plus. And right now, those 2 spots, Michael King and Randy Vasquez, have done those things. They're on pace to continue to do those things. Michael King's been everything you could have hoped for in this year, coming off of an injury from last year. Ace level stuff, swing and miss arsenal. bulldog mentality, and he looks every bit like a legitimate game one starter again, like we saw a couple of years ago. Then there's Randy Vasquez. Now, I think Randy Vasquez has come back down to earth a little bit, but he's still on a better pace than what number 2 starters usually do for playoff teams on average. He has gone from a pleasant surprise to now an essential piece in this rotation. A sub-3 ERA. He has had excellent command this year. He has shown poise beyond his years, and he's not just holding down the number 2 spot. He's starting to thrive in it a little bit, which is interesting because he came in trying to be like your number 4 starter before injuries. So you have your foundation, and every great rotation starts with a good foundation, and I think you have it in Randy Vasquez and you have it in Michael King. Look at last year's playoff teams. The average number 1 starter posted a 2.82 ERA, like I mentioned. The average number 2 starter sat at 3.19. King and Vasquez, they're right there. They're maybe even a little better than what those numbers show. Now, again, it's early in the season. They've only made a handful of starts, but they are on the right path. That's a playoff caliber front end pitching. You know, I wanted to do this because I don't want people to like look at names because it freaks them out. Do you want to know? Let me ask you this question, Frank. Do you want to tell me?
Not really.
Do you want to tell me who made the World Series from the American League last year? Who played?
Toronto.
Toronto. Do you want to tell me who their number 1, 2, and 3 starter in the rotations were based on WAR last year? I'm not expecting you to know this off the top of your head, but it'd be...
No. I'm assuming Gausman, Bieber.
Gausman was their number 1.
Bieber.
Nope.
Really?
Gausman had a 3.8 WAR last year with a 3.59 ERA. He was their number 1 pitcher last year.
It might warp it, but did Yasavage? Yes, no.
Eric Lauer was their number 2 starter last year. He had a 2.2 WAR. He was 9-2. Had a 3.18 ERA last year. Chris Bassett had a 2.1 WAR. He was 11-9.
That's right. He still exists.
3.96 ERA. That was their number 1, 2, and 3 starter for the season last year. They made the World Series. Again, to put it in perspective, because when you see those names, you think names. You don't think about like, oh, that guy's terrible. It's like you got to look at the numbers that get you to that point. So the Padres have a good foundation right now with Randy Vasquez and Michael King pitching like a number 1 and a number 2. There's no debate about that. But baseball rotations are not one with your top 2. They're one with spots 3, 4, and 5. And that's where the Padres are still searching. They're not panicking. I don't think they're panicking, but they're searching because we have seen the extended tryout now, and there's a couple more guys on their way in. Germán Márquez, Walker Buehler, Matt Waldron have all shown flashes with this team at some point in time, albeit Matt Waldron a couple of years ago, more so than in recent history. The problem is that flashes don't carry you through 6 months. They don't get you through the season. Consistency does. Let's start with Germán Márquez. A 4.38 ERA, which is a little above playoff team average for a number 3 starter, which sat around 3.48 last season. And I don't think he's going to be a number 3 starter in this rotation. So let's just talk about it from a perspective that he's slightly above a 3.81 ERA, which is usual for a number 4 starter. But despite all that, it is survivable. He's giving you innings. He's keeping you in games often enough. He's basically living in that fine, but you don't like a little more territory. Fine, but you'd like a little bit more territory. That's a major league number 3, number 4 starter. Not spectacular, absolutely usable. That's what you get with Germán Márquez right now. And he has his flaws. Then there's Walker Buehler. And Buehler might be one of the most fascinating pitchers on this roster right now because his ERA is a 5.40. The eyes say something better. Velocity is back. The stuff is improving. The command still maddeningly inconsistent. And his outing against the Cubs was actually the perfect Walker Buehler experience for 2026. 4 2/3 innings, 2 runs, 3 walks. Enough to keep you alive. Now, not enough to let you breathe and not something that you want for the entire season. But that's the thing. He's close. He knows it. The Padres know it. Everybody watching knows it. But baseball isn't going to grade you on proximity. It grades on results. And right now, Buehler is living in that frustrating space between almost and there. Then we get to Matt Waldron, who's starting today. And let's be honest here, today enormous for Matt Waldron. Not because one April start defines the season. It's not because roster math is undefeated, but Waldron enters with a 12.46 ERA. And while that's only over 2 starts, the leash is short, very short. He's not just pitching against the Cubs. He's not just pitching against Griffin Canning. He's not just pitching against Lucas Giolito. He's pitching against the calendar because Canning is almost ready. He threw 5 strong innings in AAA. His rehab clock is ticking. By early May, he's going to need a roster spot. Giolito, he's coming back too, probably mid-May. That is when this conversation goes from theoretical to unavoidable. Now, suddenly, you've got 7 names for 5 spots. And here's the wrinkle. Nobody can simply be sent down. Waldron is out of options. Marquez and Buehler do not have them. So every decision starts to carry more weight, and every decision carries more risk. And that's exactly the kind of problem contenders face. Let's put this into perspective. The average playoff team's 4th starter last year posted a 3.81 ERA. The 5th starter, about a 4.12. Not dominant, not glamorous, reliable, standard. And that's the bar. And right now, the Padres are hovering around it. Marquez slightly above. Buehler is slightly below in certain categories. Waldron has been well below, but in a tiny sample size. That's why today's start matters so much for Matt Waldron. Strong outing doesn't guarantee his spot, but it absolutely changes the conversation because if Waldron gives you 5 or 6 competitive innings, now the Padres have choices instead of obligations. And these choices are obviously powerful. What happens when Canning arrives? A 6-man rotation makes sense, at least temporarily. The schedule practically demands it. 10 games in 10 days, 18 and 18. You need innings, you need fresh arms, you need flexibility, but that's only a temporary solution. Because once Giolito is ready, somebody's role has to change. And Giolito changes the equation. He's not a lottery ticket. He's a proven major league starter, a guy with strikeout stuff, a guy who can reasonably project to a mid-3s ERA, a guy, if healthy, immediately slots into your middle rotation. And that matters a lot. Then Canning gives you exactly what good teams need, depth. Maybe he's the number 5. Maybe he's a swingman. Maybe he's the first guy up when someone inevitably tweaks a hamstring or wakes up with a dead arm, because over 162 games, 6 starters aren't a luxury. That's a necessity. And this is where the Padres actually compare very favorably to playoff teams. Last year's average playoff rotation produced roughly a 15.8 WAR. The Padres project in the 13.5 to 16.5 range once everybody is healthy, and that's right in the neighborhood of where you want to be. Elite at the top, competent in the middle, and deep enough at the bottom. That's a playoff rotation. Now, is this a perfect playoff rotation? No, I don't think anybody watching Walker Buehler walk the bases almost every single time he goes out there thinks it's a perfect solution. I don't think a lot of people watching Germán Márquez give up long balls think it's a perfect solution. And I don't think people watching Matt Waldron labor with the knuckleball thinks it's a perfect solution. There are obviously legitimate questions with the rotation. Can Buehler fully rediscover himself and throw a lot more strikes? Can Márquez consistently miss enough bats? Can Waldron survive major league lineups a second time through? Maybe even before you even start thinking about a third time through. Can Giolito stay healthy? Can Canning provide meaningful innings? I mean, these are all real concerns, but they're the kind of concerns every contender seems to have. Nobody has 5 aces, not even the Dodgers. Braves don't. Phillies definitely don't. What separates contenders isn't perfection, but it's options. And the Padres suddenly have options. That's why today matters. Waldron isn't necessarily pitching to save his career, but he's pitching to complicate the front office's life. And that's the best thing a player can do. Make the decision difficult. Because if Waldron pitches well, then maybe Buehler shifts. Maybe Marquez gets extra rest. Maybe Griffin Canning opens in long relief. Maybe the 6-man rotation lasts longer than expected. This is a good problem to have, more so than a bad problem to have. In fact, it's a very good problem. And make no mistake, this may be the single biggest storyline of the team right now, because I believe the offense will wake up. It always does. Tatis is going to hit home runs. Merrill's going to start driving the ball. Machado's going to continue to be Manny Machado. But the rotation, that determines the ceiling. A great lineup can get you to October. A deep rotation is what gets you through October. And right now, the Padres are starting to assemble one. Not a perfect one, but one that absolutely looks capable of matching what playoff teams got from their rotation a year ago. King and Vasquez have already done their part. Now the question is whether the rest of the group can rise to the standard of being a playoff level rotation. If spots 3 through 5 can simply be average, just average in terms of a playoff rotation, this becomes one of the National League's most dangerous teams. And with Giolito and Griffin Canning on the way, average suddenly feels very attainable for this starting rotation. And that's the state of this Padres starting rotation. It's a little top heavy, it's talented, it's unsettled, but it's promising. And over the next 2 weeks, it's going to become one of the most important stories, not only for the Padres, but probably in baseball. This is where I think it's the biggest issue. And before we get from that to the bullpen, because the bullpen last year was not great. The bullpen last year was not great. Or last night was not great. They have to kind of solidify what they want to do with the starting rotation first before they start impacting the bullpen. And I think there's some arms that might now be moving down to AAA. And we talked about that before. But Frank, as I look at the rotation, again, you're not asking everybody to be an ace. You're asking them to be a 3, 4, 5 starter. And these guys are hovering around that spot.
Yeah, I mean, there haven't been many games this year where the starting rotation hasn't given you at least a fighting chance. So with looking at that, I mean, that's really all you can ask for at this point is I just need a fighting chance. And that's exactly what this rotation has given you, whether it be Pivetta through his first couple of starts before getting hurt, whether it's been Michael King dogging through 5 innings, Randy Vasquez, I feel, has done the best this season. Germán Márquez is close. Buehler may have clawed some ground back last night, even though he was all over the place. But yeah, I mean, it's the rotation has done its job up to this point. I would like to see them eat a little bit more innings, but other than that, they have been just fine.
I think so too. I think the bullpen, I mean, we talked about this off air. I think if the Padres could put together their 7 or 8 best bullpen arms in the bullpen, it would be a lot better than what it is right now because of, I mean, I don't know what you do with Wandy Peralta. I mean, I gave it up again last night, but like, you can't even give him this. You can't even like go to him in a situation of like, this is not a situation that he would be in because that is a situation that he'd be in. And you can't pitch Morejon, Adams, and Miller every single night. You need other guys to step up, and you're adding Yuki Matsui to the mix very soon. You know, David Morgan did not look very good last night. He hasn't looked very good in his last couple of outings. You know, he's got options, so I would imagine when Matsui comes back, maybe Morgan is considered to go back down. It could be Kyle Hart. Kyle Hart didn't look very good last night either, and he showed promise too. So I think they got a lot of decisions to be made with the starting rotation, and then you got the bullpen conversation, and maybe those conversations get easier with, you know, Estrada coming back and with potentially going to 6-man rotation. I mean, based on the way the bullpen was last night, Frank, that 6-man rotation is looking a lot better, especially with the way the schedule is showing up.
Yeah, certainly, and that's one of those things again where Buehler might fit. If Buehler fits into that, you get a further extension of the time for Buehler versus Marquez, and give Giolito a little bit of extra time as well to get going.
When we come back, we'll talk more about the pitching from last night. We'll talk about Walker Buehler in more detail. We'll talk about the exact numbers some of these players have to reach in part of the rotation. We also want to get to today's lineup. A little bit of a change at the top of the order. You know, he's the guy that has the best average when leading off an inning. Maybe that will happen to lead off the game. We'll talk about that, too, when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. Setting Summer Sports Station, 97.3 The Fan. I want to get into the details of this lineup today because I think it's an interesting topic based on who's batting leadoff today and what he has done to lead off innings as opposed to also leading off games. But we also want to dive into this rotation. So I will say this. I have the numbers for every team in Major League Baseball and what they have done for their first batter of the game. If you take a look at the splits, not great for the Padres in comparison to everybody else. The Padres, just for all intents and purposes, in leading off a game, whether it be home or away, doesn't really matter. First batter of the game for the Padres is 2 for 25 in 29 plate appearances with 3 walks and 9 strikeouts. They're batting 80 with a 207 on base and a 120 slug. Not very good. But you know what? As I was thinking, and we're going to get into this in a second, maybe the first batter of the game doesn't get a lot of hits. It's the first batter of the game. Sometimes they get on base, sometimes they don't. We'll take a look at that when we come back in the next segment. All right, let's talk about this rotation, Frank. Let's talk about what you are looking for when it comes to your rotation in terms of your best pitcher all the way to your number 5 starting pitcher. According to, and we ran the numbers last night of all the playoff teams from last season. So that would be Toronto, Seattle, Cleveland, New York, Boston, Detroit in the American League, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Los Angeles, Chicago, San Diego, and Cincinnati in the National League. And again, a lot of these guys, you start looking at some of these names, and this is why I did this, because when we mentioned at Far Corner on the Saturday of opening weekend that Randy Vasquez could have a big year and potentially play his way into your number 2 or 3 spot, maybe he has the stuff to be an ace. There was people going if you have Randy Vasquez as your number 2 starter, you're in trouble. I think you got to take the name off this and look at the numbers. So you start looking at some of the teams like last year. We talked about Toronto, right? Toronto went to the World Series. I know it's the American League. The American League hasn't been as good as the National League the last couple of years, but they went to the World Series. They were toe-to-toe with the Dodgers, were they not? Did that not go to Game 7? Their best starting pitcher last year.
Out away from winning.
Their best pitcher last year was Kevin Gausman, 3.8 WAR. He's their number 1. Eric Lauer was their number 2 based on WAR. Chris Bassett was their 3. Jose Barrios was their 4. And Max Scherzer was their 5. You look at their overall numbers, here's their ERAs, 3.59, 3.18, 3.96, 4.17, 5.19. Those are the 5 pitchers for Toronto that had made the most starts. Those are the 5 pitchers in the order of rank of 1 through 5. That's the rotation. That's what you're looking for. Let's move on to Seattle. Seattle had a better rotation, right? Would you say so?
I would agree.
Brian Wu, Luis Castillo, Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, Bryce Miller. Those were the 5 Seattle pitchers who made the most starts for Seattle last season on a playoff team that got the number 2 seed in the American League. Brian Wu had a 4.2 WAR. Luis Castillo had a 2.2 WAR. Logan Gilbert had a 2 WAR. George Kirby had a 0.7 WAR. Bryce Miller had a negative 0.8 WAR. And go through the records, it doesn't really matter. ERA, 2.94 for Wu. Castillo had a 3.54. Logan Gilbert had a 3.44. George Kirby had a 4.21. Bryce Miller had a 5.68. That was the number 2 team in the American League. Cleveland. Gavin Williams, Tanner Bybee, Slade Ciccone, Luis Ortiz, Logan Allen were their 5 pitchers to get the 3 seed. 3.06 ERA, 4.24 ERA, 4.30 ERA, 4.36 ERA, 4.25 ERA. That's a lot of ERAs in the 4s, Frank. Yankees, ERAs were better. Carlos Rodon, Max Fried, Cam Schlittler, Clark Schmidt, and Will Warren. Those are the 5 pitchers for the Yankees. 3.09, 2.86, 2.96, 3.32, 4.44. Red Sox, Garrett Crochet pitched out of his mind. Brian Bello, Lucas Giolito, Hunter Dobbins, Walker Buehler. I mean, two of the guys that you might have in your rotation were in the Red Sox rotation last year. They made the playoffs. Crochet had a 2.59 ERA. Bello had a 3.35. Giolito had a 3.41. Dobbins had a 4.13. Buehler had a 5.45. That team made the playoffs. Look at the Detroit Tigers with Tarek Skubal. Skubal, Flaherty, Mize, Montero, Olsen were there 1 through 5. 2.21, 3.87, 3.15, 4.64, 4.37. Are you sensing a theme here, Frank, that you don't have, like, you don't need like a bunch of aces on your team? It's like, I know it'd be great to have these guys, but listen to these names. Listen to these names. And for anybody that's just tuning in, because like I see Juan in the YouTube chat talking about it, these are the 5 pitchers that have made the most starts for their team, organized 1 through 5 based on WAR. Since we have all of the data, this has ended up who their best pitcher was, their 2, their 3, their 4, their 5. I mean, if you mixed it up differently, and some guy, Eric Lauer pitching his ass off as a number 4 guy, it would skew the data, in my opinion. So that's how we assembled it. There's other starts, but those are the 5 players per team that made the most starts, then organized via WAR. You look at the National League. The Milwaukee Brewers were the number 1 seed in the National League last year. They had Freddie Peralta, Quinn Priester, Chad Patrick, Jose Quintana, and Jacob Mizorowski. That was their starting rotation. 2.7, 3.32, 3.53, 3.96, 4.36. You go to Philadelphia, who actually had better pitching last year than they do this year. Christopher Sanchez, who had an 8 WAR. He was on fire last year. Zach Wheeler, Ranger Suarez, Jesus Luzardo, and Taijuan Walker. 2.5, 2.71, 3.2, 3.92, 4.08. I mean, look at the Dodgers rotation last year. They won the World Series. They had a couple of guys sub 3, which is great. But their rotation, these are the 5 guys that made the most starts last year for the Dodgers. Now, this is a little bit different because they had a lot of guys that didn't play most of the year that ended up helping them in the playoffs. But they got to the playoffs with Yamamoto, Glasnow, Kershaw, Sheehan, and May. Dustin May was their number 5 starter. He had a 4.85 ERA. 2.49 for Yamamoto. Glasnow had a 3.19. Kershaw had a 3.36. And Sheehan had a 2.82. Now, none of those guys made 20 starts except for Kershaw and Yamamoto, who made 30. Continue to go down the list. I mean, you could go through everybody. But Padres last year, Pivetta, Vasquez, King, Cease, and Darvish were their best 5. Those are the 5 that made the most starts. That was them ranked in order of WAR. Randy Vasquez was your number 2 pitcher last year. Pivetta at 2.87. Vasquez at a 3.84. Michael King at a 3.44. Dylan Cease at a 4.55. And Yu Darvish at a 5.38. I mean, just comparing the Padres' current rotation to that rotation, Frank, you need your 4, Dylan Cease, who's ended up being Dylan Cease last year at 4.55. You need Germán Márquez to have like a 4.55 ERA. A guy like Walker Buehler or Griffin Canning, whoever it may be, 5.38 ERA. That's the target you're looking for. And I have the season-long averages. I mean, you could go through it, but when you look at individually what you want your number 1 through 5 starter to do, you want a number 1 starter and number 2 starter to go 6 innings plus 3 runs or less. Maybe change a little bit on the whip that they might have. Your number 3 starter, you're hoping they go 5 2/3 plus 4 runs or less. Your number 4 starter, maybe 5 1/3 innings pitched, 4 runs or less. Your number 5 starter, you hope he goes 5 innings and go 4 runs or less. And the whole point of this conversation is the players that the Padres have in the rotation, the back end, they're right around there. They're right around there. And so that's what makes these decisions even more difficult moving forward for the Padres because, again, you don't need them all to have a sub 3 ERA. You just need them to be able to survive throughout the year and give you a chance to win. And right now, the Padres rotation is kind of doing that.
No, they absolutely are. And that's been all you've asked for. You haven't asked anyone to go out there and be that dominant shutdown starting pitcher. Not yet, at least. You thought it was going to be Nick Pivetta. He's hurt. You knew Michael King was coming back off of injury. You didn't have the feeling that Randy Vasquez was going to be able to do it, even though he had the potential to do it. And you knew you weren't getting it out of Walker Buehler or Germán Márquez. So it's you weren't really asking for an ace. You weren't really expecting an ace this year. And you've gotten quality outings out of everyone, which is really all you can ask for out of a starting pitcher is just give me quality outings every time you go out there.
Yeah, like Walker Buehler's not giving you enough innings, but he's keeping the runs less.
Yeah.
Most of the time. Right? Germán Márquez is giving you innings. He might be giving you up a little bit more runs than you would like. I mean, you could go across the board with some of these guys. They're right there, and that's why these decisions are going to be difficult. But I think they have a lot to work with right now. So, like, when you look at spot number 1, expect 5 2/3 per start, roughly 15 to 16 outs, and you get a good start if you go 6 innings plus with low damage. Spot number 2 in the rotation, 5 2/3 kind of target. Spot number 3 through 5, 5 1/3 innings per start would be great. 14 to 15 outs. These arms are still expected to go deep enough to protect the bullpen. I mean, get to 5. That's why you get a win if you go 5 innings. But anything over some of these thresholds, it's a win. And anything well below, it's a loss. I mean, this is kind of the standard port you want to be. And this is like how you kind of watch. So like today for Matt Waldron, he's like a number 5 starter, right? You want him to go 5 innings and give up 4 runs or less. And that's what you expect out of a number 5 starter. So that's the goal today, I think, for Matt Waldron. Lineup looks a little bit different today. Jackson Merrill's batting leadoff. We'll talk about the significance of that when we come back. Why it's important to have Jackson Merrill bat leadoff on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. 10:43 on a Wednesday, leading into Padres baseball today. The Ecowater SoCal Padres pregame show with Sam Levitt will be coming up at, what is that, 12:10? First pitch at 1:10. Rubber match, Padres, Cubs. Padres need to win this. Got to be able to win series against the Chicago Cubs. This is the team you're competing with for playoff positioning. It's the team you're competing with for a playoff spot. For all the negative people that think, where are you think this team's making the playoffs? And for all the people that, understand this is a good baseball team and need to understand seeding purposes, this is another big series for that too. It's a big, you got to be able to you want to be able to win these series. These are the ones that are difficult. They got to win, especially when you're playing at home. Today's lineup. Oh, by the way, did you know? I forgot to ask Woods about this.
Uh-oh.
I had a DM last night from one of our listeners.
Mm-hmm.
He DM'd Woods and he DM'd Sam. His sister's like the executive producer of Love is Blind. And was like, if you want to get Sammy on that, we got to get it. We got to put him in contact with my sister.
Oh.
To get him. I'm like, hello. This is a development. I pass it along to Adam and Paul and stuff. So we'll see what happens. But they got to be able to reach out. We got to reach out to her now. I'm telling you.
The most fun part about that, for me at least, the most fun part about that will be to see when the show gets filmed versus when the show gets aired. That would be
film
the
it in
most
December,
fun.
Air it during the summer, and you got yourself wonderful viewership for our station.
Sammy Reality TV.
Oh my God. I don't know. He didn't know, maybe his voice is too recognizable. To who exactly? I guess the TikTok world. All the baseball fans be like, I know this guy.
Well, no, it's just the TikTok world, period.
Because you have to like listen to the person, like when they're not, you don't get to see them, you hear their voice. Just put like a voice thing over it. I don't know.
How many famous people have listened to his, and with that,
you know what?
At the end of every year.
I'm going to say it right now. I bet you they think it's AI now. The person could just think it's like, oh, they had the AI person do this.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Did you see the Yankees game last night? Did they?
I did watch it. I watched the end of it after the Met game. I had that on. Then I put the Yankee game on, and then I had the Padre game on.
Is Derek updating us on that, maybe?
I know exactly what he's going to say.
Let's get to Derek and La Mesa. Derek, what's going on? How's your Wednesday going?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? Once again, another glorious day in San Diego. Man, Frank, long time to talk, brother. Hey, are you ready for some trivia, Frank?
Well, you know what? I'm going to be so cool that I might even answer the question before you even give it.
Well, come on, Frank. I mean, we got to have fun.
I'll let you go.
All right, Frank. Here we go, buddy. What do Met greats Ron Darling and Francisco Lindor have in common?
They both wear number 12.
It's truly amazing. The coincidences just keep happening, Frank.
I know, right?
What's going on? Yeah, coincidentally, Arson Fudge hit number 12.
Yeah, I know.
I love it.
Oh,
hey, you know
my
what?
God. That's great.
Braden, the listeners might get tired of this, but I'm not going to get tired of it until Braden says, "Okay, bro, the bit's over." So
I get a kick out of this every time, especially since you've come up with like little jabs at Frank every single time. The chef's kiss today on the Lindor number, Ron Darling number for the amount of home runs that Aaron Judge has hit today. That is top notch, Derek. Well done. The problem, you got to make sure you can outdo yourself every time, though. That's the thing. You got to come up with something else.
Hey, that's the plan. Hey, you guys have a great day. It's a glorious day in San Diego. We'll talk to you guys soon. Hey, Frank, probably sooner rather than later, brother.
Yeah, all right.
That's amazing.
Has Aaron Judge been in contact with Alexi Ramirez anytime soon?
No,
anytime recently?
I don't think so.
No.
Is that the only
World Baseball Classic?
Is that your only way out of this? Is if he gets suspended or injured or something?
He's not going to get suspended
or injured. He gets injured a lot.
He does get injured a lot, but he's not going to get suspended for steroids. I'm a firm believer that he's not a.
I don't know, because he's massive.
User.
He's huge. Of course, he doesn't. He wouldn't need it anyway. He's so big.
He also doesn't need it when the fences are 5 feet away from him.
There it is. I'm still waiting for you to throw the significance of 0 out there to Derek, but maybe in the football season. I don't want to do it because that's the only thing I got on Derek, but at the same time, I'm thoroughly enjoying the creativity of how he's going to ask Frank a trivia question based on how many home runs that
saw him hit the home run last night.
Aaron Judge. I get a phone call.
Yep, knew it was coming.
You know what's gonna suck is like one of these weekends he's just got to go on a tear and hit like 5 home runs, and then you're gonna have to listen to like Derek for like 25 minutes on a Monday. Give you the. I think it's funny. I'm enjoying it so far. I mean, the odds of him going to like 60 home runs again is slim, I think. So it's not going to be every day, but it's good.
It's going to be more.
I enjoy this. I think it's funny.
It's already more than enough, but hey.
I think it's funny.
Is what it is.
All right, today's Padres lineup. We're going to take a deeper dive into it when we start the 11 o'clock hour. But Padres lineup today, as issued by not Craig Stammen. He left yesterday's game early. He was catching a flight. He's got a funeral to attend today, as that was announced on the television broadcast. So, obviously, thoughts with Craig Stammen and whatever the situation is for that. Something he needed to be at.
I believe Randy Knorr also said that the team was expecting him to leave. It's just the way the timing worked out.
Yeah, with the flight he had to catch, for sure. So, as called in by the manager, Randy Knorr today, He's the acting manager, correct? That's what they said yesterday.
I guess so. He was the one that took over the media deal. So, I mean, it could be someone else, but
I think. Well, you were at the game. I think Don mentioned on the TV broadcast that Randy Knorr is the acting manager,
which is interesting because isn't Ruben Niebla the assistant manager?
Well, he's like pitching coach and assistant manager or something. I don't remember his official title.
So wouldn't that necessarily mean that
but Randy Knorr, it might be like the same kind of deal. I don't know. All of like the names now for like coaching, like they're not like traditional anymore. They have a bunch of different things. Ruben Niebla is major league pitching coach and associate manager. Yeah, Randy Knorr is just the bench coach. That's interesting. Yeah, why don't you just have Ruben do it? It's probably easier to have Ruben focus on the pitching than have Randy Knorr focus on the managerial stuff of like, arguing balls and strikes or something. But I mean, who takes over for Ruben Niebla if he gets run because of a bad call early in the game? You're going to pull Ben Fritz out of the bullpen? He has to run down to be the pitching coach now, and you got to like throw somebody else over there to be the bullpen.
Have fun with it.
Too much working pieces. I feel like you can figure it out.
We're shuffling the lineup around every day. Why not shuffle around?
All right, let's
shuffle
get to
around
the
the coaching stuff.
Leading off today for the first time this season, Jackson Merrill playing center field. Fernando bats second, plays right field. Machado DHing today, bats third. Xander Bogaerts is at shortstop. He bats cleanup today. Ty France batting fifth, playing first base. Miguel Andujar will play third base. He bats sixth. Batting seventh and at second base is Jake Cronenworth. Nick Castellanos bats eighth. He plays left field. And Luis Camposano, who started last night, will start again today and catch. He is batting ninth. Matt Waldron is today's starting pitcher for the San Diego Padres. I like Jackson Merrill batting leadoff for a lot of different reasons. We're going to talk about those reasons in the next hour, but they mix up the lineup again. I don't mind the changes. I think Xander Bogaerts has been arguably your best position player all season. I don't think it's that much of a debate. Anybody debating that?
Mm-mm.
Which is a shame because we cut him twice the last 2 years. So it's good that he's back on the team and
not holding a grudge.
Not holding a grudge against Padres fans. Camposano, too, by the way. He's batting ninth. Guy's hitting. Do you know what Camposano's hitting right now? He's like 341 or something ridiculous.
Unfortunately, it's not for us because we cut him, too.
Yeah, cut him in the spring. Prolific in the chat cut him immediately as soon as we said they were going to give him an opportunity. Get rid of this guy. Yeah, I'm glad that they have given him as many opportunities as they have. Because you're starting to see the benefits of that with Luis Camposano. They had multiple hits last night too? Or just one?
I think he just had the one.
Ty France had multiple hits last night.
Yes. Ty France has been hitting very, very well. He's a guy that I would shoehorn into the lineup as much as I can at this point.
So far this year, Luis Camposano almost has a higher WAR right now than any of his other years.
Yeah, Campy was 1 for 4 yesterday.
Camposano's highest WAR season he had was 2023. He had a 1.1 WAR. Do you know what his WAR is right now? 0.8. I mean, he is almost having a career year in the month of April compared to like every other year he's had. I mean, 2020 was okay, right? 0.1 WAR in this one game because he raked in that one game. It was like he didn't even rake. He was 1 for 3, hit the home run.
He's already got 10 RBIs this season too after last night.
He has a negative WAR in every season but one, and that's 2023 at a 1.1 WAR. I'm not even counting 2020. Had one game that he played. In 2023, he hit 319, but he only played in 49 games. I think he was hurt for a lot of that time.
2020, because he had that thumb injury.
Mm-hmm. 2024 at a negative 0.7 WAR. 2025 at a negative 0.4 WAR, but you would do that when you don't get hits. Camposano's been great too. He's batting ninth. The leadoff spot has been a problem for the Padres. That's where this conversation is going to continue in the next hour, and why Jackson Merrill is the perfect fit to potentially fix the leadoff spot, if you will. Braden Surprenant Show, hour number 2, when we come back. Hour number 2 on the Braden Surprenant Show. Leading you into Padres baseball today. Equal SoCal Padres pregame show with Sam Levitt coming up at 12:10. We'll be taking you up to about 12:05 today on the show. Talking about the lineup. The Padres lineup today, we talked about it in the last hour, but it's Merrill, Tatis, Machado, Bogarts, France, Andujar, Cronenworth, Castellanos, Camposano, and Matt Waldron is your starting pitcher. Different spot at the leadoff spot today. Now, here's what you need to know about this. And we did this conversation a couple of weeks ago, did we not? I feel like we did this a couple of weeks ago. Here's the situation at hand with the Padres in their leadoff spot, okay? The Padres' leadoff situation is not great. Ramon Laureano has been better than everybody else so far, but I don't think he's the solution in the leadoff spot. Let's talk about a perspective of like, what do you want in a leadoff hitter? Do you want him to be the traditional, like, set the table guy, get on base, like, get a couple of base hits, like, you're trying to work walks, or are you putting your best player there? And you getting him as many at-bats as possible. Like, those, to me, are the two ways that you can discuss the leadoff spot. And most of the time, we get from a lot of fans, it's the traditional way of thinking. Because the big reason why you didn't want Fernando batting leadoff is like, he's got to be driving in runs and all this other stuff. I'd like to see him bat as many times as possible. So, but he hadn't done very well at the leadoff spot. He's still looking for his first home run, all that other stuff. They tried Jake Cronenworth because he was able to work walks, although he hadn't really done that in the 5 at-bats or 5 games that he had batting leadoff. They tried Ramon Laureano. He has gone cold since batting leadoff. So if you want to go with that approach, you would have to look at numbers that, how do these guys do when they lead off innings? How do these guys do when they lead off? Because aside from the first at-bat of the game, who knows who they're going to hit? So speaking of the first bat of the game, the Padres, in their 29 games, you know how many hits they have to lead off a game? You want to take a guess, Frank?
I know the answer.
Go ahead.
2.
They are 2 for 25 with a double, 3 walks, and 9 strikeouts. That gives you an 80 batting average. 0.80 with a 207 on base percentage, a 120 slug, and a 327 OPS. Their leadoff hitter, in terms of like leading off a game, has a 125 batting average on balls in play. Is that good, Frank?
Not great.
Doesn't seem like it's very good. And you know it's not very good because, I mean, to me, I looked at that and it was like, what's the league average? And even more so, you know, how many teams are actually getting a lot of production after the first guy to start the game, right? I mean, it's a very small sample. There's not a lot of opportunities for that. Every team has played about 30 games, 29 games. So that's the amount of at-bats that we've seen or plate appearances we have seen. The average, all the teams, like on average, batters to lead off a game of Major League Baseball this season are hitting 235 with a 312 on base percentage, a 403 slug, and a 715 OPS. That's on average. So the Padres well below that. Not only that, they are actually the worst. There's only one other team that's just as bad as the Padres are in leading off a game. It's the New York Yankees. Yankees are also have 2 hits. They're 2 for 24. They're hitting 083 with a 267 on base, a 125 slug, and a 392 OPS. The best in baseball is the Mariners. They're hitting 318 out of the guy that leads off the game. So the Padres, in terms of leading off the game, not doing so hot. Both hits have been from Ramon Laureano. He's hit like a $133 in his particular position, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he's hitting a $133 with a 316 on base. He has the 3 walks. I think you needed to give him opportunities. He has now done it for 19 times. Not that great. Okay, that's just one scenario. Now, what about other scenarios? Like, how are guys doing when they lead off? Well, there's a split for that. It's called leading off an inning. I think that's different than just batting first split. What does, like, being inserted in the number one spot in the order really have to do with anything, Frank, aside from the first at bat? Specifically for leadoff, right? Like, if you are talking about a leadoff hitter and a guy that needs to get on base with no outs, you should probably look at the stat of how these guys do leading off an inning. Now, we're going to look at this from a perspective of at least 20 plate appearances this season for the Padres. There's 7 Padres that have had at least 20 plate appearances to lead off an inning. Almost every one of them is hitting under 200. There's a couple that are not. Manny Machado's hitting 207. Fernando's hitting 214. Jake Cronenworth, 136 when leading off an inning. Xander Bogaerts, 182 when leading off an inning. Ramon Laureano, 182 when leading off an inning. Gavin Sheets, 350 when you're leading off an inning. Gavin Sheets has 20 plate appearances when leading off an inning. He's 7 for 20 with 4 doubles, a home run, and an RBI.
Sounds like a Kyle Schwarber light situation.
That's not a bad option, in my opinion. You might just have to see what it looks like. But let's say you want some speed on the bases because, he's got a 1050 OPS. There's actually another Padre that has a better OPS than Gavin Sheets does when leading off an inning. And that is Jackson Merrill. Jackson Merrill, now his average has gone down. He's had a couple more plate appearances. Jackson Merrill's 5 for 19 with 2 doubles, 2 home runs, 2 RBIs, because of his 2 home runs, obviously. 4 walks. He's worked 4 walks when batting leadoff to lead off an inning. By the way, that's best out of anybody on the team. So again, for the guy that's like talking about like, well, you're about a guy there that's batting 205 and doesn't get on base, doesn't work walks. Jackson Merrill has the most walks when leading off an inning. He has 4. It's tied for the most. Jackson Merrill when leading off an inning, which would be the same as leading off a game, which would be the same as being a leadoff hitter. 263 average, 391 on base percentage, 684 slugging percentage, which is by far the best, and a 1076 OPS when leading off an inning. Mix that with his speed, his ability to steal bases, all that stuff, Frank. That to me sounds like a guy that would be great batting leadoff. That's probably a reason why he's batting leadoff today.
Yeah, I mean, we've been on that for the last couple of weeks now, that Jackson Merrill has the ability and probably should lead off. So it'd be interesting to see how he does today, actually getting that opportunity to do so.
I like it. Now, let's start talking about the other situations in baseball. So the Padres' first bat of the game, we've already determined they are last in almost every statistical category. That they've walked more than Cleveland has. Otherwise, they would be dead last in that category too. When you look at leading off an inning, Padres are not very good in this either. They're hitting 221, which is near the bottom, and they have a 665 OPS, which is not great compared to everybody else in Major League Baseball. They are like the 22nd ranked team when leading off an inning in Major League Baseball. And then like just the leadoff hitters, their leadoff hitters in general are hitting 202 on the season, which is 27th best in Major League Baseball. So you look at where they're at leadoff wise, which I think is a big impact on their offense. They have yet to find a solution to this. And as much as like Ramon Laureano kind of filled the void for a little bit, he hasn't had the same success in the leadoff spot or leading off an inning or, batting leadoff in general compared to what he was doing when he was batting lower in the order. So I think today is a good opportunity to see what Jackson Merrill has, Frank, because I think based on the situation that you want Jackson Merrill to play in as a leadoff guy, he's worked walks. He's had that approach. He has put the ball in play. He has gotten hits. He has slugged, and he has done the ultimate thing, and that's getting himself on base for everybody else behind him. And the best way to look at that is by looking in this season how he's been able to do that in this situation. And the numbers show, aside from Gavin Sheets, he's probably your best option when you mix in the overall talent that Jackson Merrill has and what you're looking for in a leadoff hitter. This seems like a no-brainer decision for the Padres to bat him leadoff today.
Yeah, that, and he's also a lightning rod. So, I mean, for him to be able to start the game off, he's kind of like a lighter Fernando, where he has that energy. He doesn't quite have the power that Fernando has, although this year the numbers probably wouldn't show that. But he's got speed. He's an annoyance out there on the base path. So, or at least he has the potential to be. So I see Merrill as a better fit as a leadoff hitter, even more so than Fernando. And they both do somewhat the same thing. I think Jackson's, I guess his profile, kind of suits him being a leadoff hitter better in my mind, at least.
I think so too. If you're just looking at the first inning, though, like Padres in the first inning have been awful too in terms of overall numbers. They're hitting 135 as a team in the first inning. They have 5 RBIs in hitting in the first inning. You want to look at everybody else in Major League Baseball, it's probably not great in comparison again. In Major League Baseball, the 5 runs that the Padres have been able to muster is better than one team. And that is the Kansas City Royals. Padres overall number-wise are dead last in Major League Baseball offense in the first inning. 135 average in the first inning, 229 on base, 167 slug, 396 OPS in the first inning. That is dead last in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, those 3 runs you scored on Monday doubled your first inning run output of the season.
Total runs. They have 6 total runs. 6 in the first inning. They are better than 2 teams in that particular category. I was looking at the wrong thing. They actually have 6 total runs. They're better than the Red Sox, who have 5, and they're better than the Royals, who have 2. 6 total runs in the first inning. You want to talk about offensive struggles? This is where you get those offensive struggles. I saw, and what led to this too was the fact that we saw the thing of, the Padres have not led too many times early in the game. They're 6-6 after when trailing after 3 innings, which is interesting because, you don't want to be in that situation. They've been in that situation 12 times. They've been able to overcome it, but why put yourself through that? Why not give your pitcher a lead? Give some of these starting pitchers something to work with a little bit more. It would be nice to see them get off to a pretty good start when in hitting in the first inning. And I think that Jackson Merrill is a good way of setting the tone. I love Fernando in the 2 spot. We'll see. Manny's starting to hit the ball a lot better. He had the day off yesterday, obviously, with the precautionary sit out. And I think they're being cautious with him in playing defensively, too. That's why he's going to be the DH. But, Manny was hot on Monday, and Xander's continue to be your best position player offensively right now. Ty France is on a tear. I think this is a good spot for the Padres in this offense and for Jackson Merrill to bat leadoff. We've been harping on this for a long time. Hopefully they give him a couple of opportunities near the top, because I'd like to see Laureano lower in the order. We talked about this the other day, Frank. I'd like to see Laureano bat 3rd, with Merrill batting leadoff, Fernando batting 2nd, Machado bats 4th, and you can have Xander Bogaerts bat 5th. I mean, if Bogaerts is playing better than Manny, maybe he bats 4th. But I think when you look at the numbers, you could see why this is the decision to be made right now. If you want to give Laureano the day off, is have Jackson Merrill bat leadoff. I think they should continue with this in the future.
And I said it on Monday that clearly with the batting averages, Fernando, Merrill, and Manny hitting 2, 3, 4 the way they are consistently every single night is not working. Something is not working. So to just jumble those 3 up, maybe have Fernando go back to 3, Merrill hit 2, Manny hit 4, or move them around in some way, shape, or form might be beneficial for them. And I think this is, getting Laureano a day off, which he's going to need. Everyone needs a day off every now and again. This is the perfect opportunity to kind of experiment with that, to see, okay, maybe not necessarily Merrill hitting first, but flipping Merrill and Fernando, maybe that wakes them up. That wakes Merrill up, or that helps Fernando in some way, shape, or form. So I think I think a change in 2, 3, and 4 has been needed. But this is a decent enough way to get it done.
I think so too. I like the this is the what they kind of sold, right? Was this playing around with the lineup? So I like this. And here's the some people were like, well, what about batting like Xander Bogaerts leadoff? I don't really like Xander Bogaerts batting leadoff. I know he's done well. He's done the best in the first inning and anybody on the Padres aside from Ty France, who's 1 for 1 in his one at bat. But, Xander's 2 for 9 in the first inning. But when you look at Xander Bogaerts leading off an inning, his numbers aren't very good. And I feel like it'd be a little forced. Like, Xander Bogaerts this year has led off an inning 24 times. He's 4 for 22. He has a 182 average with a 250 on base. He's got a 568 OPS because he hit the one home run to lead off an inning earlier in the season. But I feel like I don't want to move Xander too much. I like him in the middle of the order. Let him continue to have some success. Let him continue to have success, in my opinion. 833-288-973, 833-288-973. Let's get out to Richard in Hillcrest. Richard, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, man?
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing well.
Hey, listen, I agree with your take on the Merrill situation. Try him out, and I think you're right about Laureano going third in the order. I think flip them, give them a couple games, see how it goes. A change in a lineup can spark a lot offensively, and let's see what happens.
100%. I think you got to roll with this a little bit. I don't want to me, I think you got to give some of these players, especially with the leadoff spot, I think you got to give these guys some multiple at-bats to really see if it's going to be a fit or not. I don't necessarily know if 20 at-bats is enough for Ramon Laureano, whatever it may be, whatever he's gotten in the leadoff spot. In terms of leading off innings, I guess, he has had 90 plate appearances as a leadoff hitter. I think you know what you're going to get out of Laureano leading off at this point. Almost 100 plate appearances, hitting 241 with a 716 OPS. He was hitting a lot better before that this season, before he started hitting leadoff. And when you look at like his numbers, you need Laureano to be back to what he was doing at the beginning of the season. And so sometimes you don't want to just because the leadoff spot's been a detriment to the Padres, don't make Laureano turn into a detriment because it's a slight improvement of the leadoff spot. 833-288-973, 833-288-973. We'll take a look more on some of the takeaways from last night's game, plus some of the trending stories in Major League Baseball, some of the new topics that we've seen after 1 month of play. We'll talk about that later on this hour as well on the Braden Surprenant Show. Setting Summer Sports Station, 97 through the Fan. Broadcast live at the Bill House Studios. We know how all of our guests join us on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not Big Bang Banking. It's better. Do want to mention that our midday sports standoff, which we will do tomorrow because we will not have a short show tomorrow. If you want to take me down to sports trivia this week, you will be qualified for a chance to win this month's grand prize, a pair of field level seats, the Padres Phillies on Memorial Day. Do we have tickets to give away today too?
I guess.
Was it on the rundown?
From what I remember, it was all week. Let me
Wow.
double check again.
We got to do that in the next break. Going into the next break. If that is the case, stay tuned for that. A little bit of a deeper dive into the lineup today because Jackson Merrill's batting leadoff. Obviously, there's a couple of guys getting the day off today.
Yep, we are giving them away.
All right. We'll come up with some trivia question, I guess, for Padres and Cubs to try to give away tickets. We got tickets to give away for the Padres Cardinals game on May 7th. First 40,000 fans will receive a free Mason Miller bobblehead. Tickets at padres.com/tickets. There's still time to cheer on the Padres at Petco Park, America's #1 ballpark. Thursday, May 7th at 7:10 when the Padres host the St. Louis Cardinals. First 40,000 fans in attendance will receive a flame-throwing Mason Miller bobblehead presented by Cox. Whether he's shutting down batters or throwing an immaculate inning, Miller always brings the heat with his fastballs. Don't wait to secure your tickets. Visit padres.com/tickets. You know what we could do? Since it's not going to make sense, since we're not going to do the midday sports standoff today, Frank, because of time, what we can do is we can use that question you had as the trivia question today. There are 8 former Padres that played on the 2016 Cubs World Series team.
That played at least 10 games, that had at least 10 appearances with the Padres that were on that
They have
team.
to have at least 10 appearances with the Padres.
Yes.
Okay. There's 8 of those players that were on that World Series team for the Cubs that have then worn a Padres hat for 10 games. If you call in when we go to break and give me 2 of those names, you will win the tickets. First one to call in when we go to break. If you call in now, doesn't count. Got to wait for us to go to break. We'll give the question out again in a second. Let's get to the phones. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get out to Les in San Diego. Les, what's going on, man?
How you doing, Braden? Thank you so much for your expertise in baseball. I learn something from you every day. I support your whole idea about looking at lineup leadoff statistics. We get Merrill at the top there. That's great. But however, I'm thinking here, we're like gymming every day about subjectively what the lineup should be. This person should be in this position. That should be. How about having an automatic lineup system? A rolling average of, let's say, the last 3 games, who had the best batting averages, and the lineup just automatically fills itself by itself. I mean, you get to the bottom of that lineup and batting averages, you look and you see Castellanos, Cronenworth at the bottom of the list. Well, they don't play that day. Someone else fills in. Bryce Johnson fills in. Someone else fills in. They have a chance for 3 days, 3 games. And we look at the statistics after that. Who has the best rolling average after three games? And then you get the guys like Bogarts and Andujar and Campusano, and those guys just float all the way to the top. They get the most at-bats. And if Merrill makes the list, then he still has the justification for being the leadoff batter because he's on the list and he has the best leadoff statistics. How about that system, Braden?
Les wants to go with a computer-generated lineup based on results and stats and more recency. You know what? I think you got an equation right there you could put together for that. I think a lot of these organizations definitely use some computer workings and calculations and stuff like that to help with their lineups. But I mean, you could theoretically, if you wanted to, you could go on like ChatGPT or Grok or something like that.
I'm doing it right now, actually.
Well, here's the other thing too: is like you should put in like lefty righty splits. Put in you could put in like I want it to be more recency. I want it to be like these situations. Like if you plug in all the data and stuff, it probably spit out a lineup for you. Who knows? Maybe the Padres are doing that. Not a bad idea, Les. We do score keep every one of our softball games. Maybe I got to do that for my co-ed softball lineup. Oh, you don't like where you're hitting? Well, too bad. You're hitting $150 right now, so we're moving you down in the order. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get to Brandon in Carlsbad. He's got to be fired up on a Wednesday. Brandon, what's going on? Beautiful day in San Diego.
Hey, guys, I think you said it best. Let's have a Wednesday, huh? Or let's just have a day. It's just another day to be a San Diegan. Hey, by the way, what's up, Frank? Gotta always pep up Frank over there. How we doing, Frank?
Doing good, Brandon.
There we go. Hey, I like what the last caller said. Impeccable accent, by the way. I love to hear, the other brothers and sisters from other areas loving the sport of baseball. But I like that. It is a numbers game. It's an analytical, statistical game. But besides that, I really like, personally, for me, what is going on with Stamen, and he's obviously getting input from his other coaches to what we're doing with the lineups and the shifting around of players. Obviously, notably was Tatis getting out of the outfield. To me personally, also, once he got in to the infield, he was able to be very engaged. And then all of a sudden he starts hitting base hits, right? He was a little stagnant there at the beginning. But I digress. It's very young in the season. I like what our record looks like, regardless of what happened yesterday. I really think moving forward, we got something special here. I think as long as everything starts getting integrated and aggregated down to a good formula, we're on a good path. Hey, you guys, have a great day. Thanks for always taking my call. God bless.
Absolutely, Brandon. Have a good day. Enjoy the game today.
Just got a very intriguing lineup.
You just did an AI lineup?
Yeah.
What did you put in there as like your prompt?
Oh, God.
I'd love to know. Because the best thing with like AI, you could put in like just gibberish and it figures out what you're saying.
Give me your best San Diego Padres lineup based off of their stats this season to face Jameson Taillon today.
Oh, you know what? The problem with that though is like it starts going through the internet and finds old players and stuff like that. You have to literally
you think
you have to really like copy and paste like stats from Baseball Reference. I mean, if you use AI like that, you'll never have anything logical come out of it.
This is what it gave me. I knew we were a little bit off based on the number one hitter. Luis Arise, good leadoff hitter. Fernando second. Profar batting third. Machado 4, Cronenworth 5, Bogart 6, Merrill 7, Ha-Seong Kim 8.
What year is this?
And Kyle Higashioka 9. So I said the 2026 Padres roster is what I meant.
You didn't mean the 2024 Padres roster?
And it still spat out Luis Arise DH. Number 1, Fernando 2, Bogarts 3, Machado 4, Andujar 5. So we're
I
getting
guess
there.
Andujar got ahead of the team.
Merrill 6, Laureano 7, Ha-Seong Kim 8, and either Higashioka or Campusano 9.
Nice.
Thank you, ChatGPT.
You know what you could do during like the break? You could like
I could just put the roster in there.
Well, this is what I would do. I would make like
Well, then you could do that because I have passport paperwork to fill out, and
you
I
have
also
passport paperwork to figure out. You're doing that right now?
Yeah, me as well. And I've also got a trivia question to answer.
Yes, you do have that to do when we go to break. If you want to win tickets to the Padres game on May 7th at 7, it's a 7:10 start. Why is it at 7:10?
It's NASCAR night.
Is that a Fox day? Is that one of those national broadcasts we got to do on a Thursday?
Brother, I don't know.
Ow, Jose Ramirez, look out, buddy. It's a tough one. May 7th. All right, there's still time to cheer on the Padres at Petco Park, America's number one ballpark. Thursday, May 7th at 7:10. Padres host the Cardinals. First 40,000 in attendance will receive a flame-throwing Mason Miller bobblehead presented by Cox. Whether he's shutting down batters or throwing an immaculate inning, Miller always brings the heat with his fastballs. Don't wait to secure your tickets. Visit Padres.com/tickets. We will be giving away a pair of those tickets here in a second.
It is an Espen game.
That explains it. Is Joe Buck doing that game?
I don't know.
Wow, maybe Joe Buck's doing that game.
Not my week to watch him.
All right. If you are the first one to call in and answer this question, there are 8 players from the 2016 World Series champion Cubs team that have played at least 10 games for the Padres. Name me 2 of them. Name me 2 of the 8 2016 World Series champion Cubs players that have played at least 10 games for the Padres. Obviously not necessarily current Padres, but that had played 10 games in their career with the Padres. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. First one to call in and then tell me 2 of the 8 Chicago Cubs from the World Series team that have played at least 10 games for the Padres. You will win tickets to Padres Cardinals next Thursday, May 7th at 7:10. We'll do that as we go to break. Final segment of the Braden Surprenant Show when we come back. San Diego Summer Sports Station 97 through the Fan. Broadcasting live at the Bill House Studios, we know how. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. It's the Braden Surprenant Show, live and locally each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. It was a fun trivia question today.
Yeah, it was good.
It was good. I didn't think the answer that he gave was going to be the one coming out of anybody's mouth. I thought
didn't think so either.
Jason Hayward and Anthony Rizzo were going to be the most common ones. Today's trivia question, and who won the tickets today?
It was Junior in Chula Vista.
Junior in Chula Vista.
Mm-hmm.
Junior in Chula Vista answered our trivia question today. There are 8 members of the 2016 World Series champion Cubs team that played at least 10 games for the San Diego Padres. Name 2 of them. He went with Anthony Rizzo and David Ross, who played 11 games for the Padres way back in the day. Way back in the day. Anthony Rizzo, David Ross, Jason Hayward, who played for the Padres last year.
Mm-hmm.
Then Adam Warren was on that team.
Adam Warren, yes.
Bullpen guy. Clayton Richard was on that team. I forgot Clayton Richard was on that World Series team for the Cubs. Okay. Who else was on that? I know you went through the list. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head what you told me.
I believe it's 2 pitchers and 1 fielder.
Correct. Okay. They were bullpen arms, weren't they?
Yes.
Oh, was it Max Caesar? Matt Caesar?
Matt Caesar.
Matt Caesar, Padres legend.
That's a spelling bee trivia question.
Oh, yeah. That was
there.
like SCZC or something like that.
SZCZUR.
Yeah. I had to spell that all the time in a book, but that was about it. All right. And then we're missing 2 other pitchers, right? Hang on a second. Both bullpen guys.
Listen, he could have, David Ross just made the cut, so he could have Googled and seen that, David Ross was a Padre. Didn't tell you how many games.
Right. It doesn't. 11 games is tough.
I was expecting to hear Jake Arrieta. He only threw 4.
He only pitched 4 games for the Padres. Who else is on that team? 2 bullpen arms? What years were they Padres, do you know?
Not off the top of my head. I'm going to have to look again.
That's difficult. 2 are... Because you already told me, though. That's the thing that's frustrating. I'm trying to remember the ones. I remembered Adam Warren's name. Who else is on that team?
One of them, it's actually a starter turned reliever.
Trevor Cahill.
Trevor Cahill was one, yes. This guy was a bullpen arm through 11 games for the Padres in 2017.
Carl Edwards Jr. didn't pitch enough for the Padres.
I'm sorry, he was a starter. He was a starter.
We had Richard already?
Yes, he was a starter. Started 11 games. Went 3-4, 52 and a third innings. Had a 6.71 ERA with the Padres in 2017.
Was that Travis Wood?
It was Travis Wood. Yes.
Wood. So we have Trevor Cahill, Travis Wood, Adam Warren, Clayton Richard.
Mm-hmm.
Travis Wood, Adam Warren, Clayton Richard. Was that 5?
That's Travis Wood, Cahill, Warren, Richard is 4.
Okay, that's the 4 pitchers, and then
the 4 fielders were
David Ross, Anthony Rizzo, Jason Hayward, Matt Caesar.
Yes,
that's an incredible question. Do you think the Human Almanac, Chris Ella, would get that?
There were a couple on there that were like big names, but they'd only had like 2 appearances with the Padres. So I'm like, I can't be that mean.
No, can't be that mean. Absolutely not. That's a good question, though. So congratulations to, who was it?
Junior in Chula Vista.
Junior in Chula Vista. It's great. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. We are broadcasting live for the Bill House Studios. We know how. All of our guests join us on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not Big Bang Banking. It's better. Some things from yesterday's game that we want to talk about. I've had so many people send me like all this hate stuff on social media because like the ruling yesterday. I do want to clarify on this stuff that we talked about. As the rules and as we've been told by other umpires about how the game was called on Monday, with the fair foul ball situation, according to the rules, it is a fair ball, is what we said yesterday. And how many times, Frank, did we say we don't believe it should be a foul ball, but based on the wording of what the rule book says, or we don't think it should be a fair ball, but based on the rulings that we got, we can see why that they said it was a fair ball. That's what it made sense. There's still infighting on that, by the way. A lot of umpires I talked to over the course. You talked to Mike Winters yesterday. He said they got it wrong. I talked to 4
and he
umpires, and they said they would still call it fair because that's what they were instructed to do.
So
they can't even figure it out themselves.
This is more or less word for word what Mike Winters told me, and he was adamant because I asked him. I'm like, okay, what'd you see Monday night? And he instantly, they made a mistake. The ball has to be physically touching fair territory. He might have been too close to it. Maybe if he takes a step back, he would have seen what everyone else saw. Wish it was reviewable. That was more or less what Mike Winters said to me yesterday.
Now, what the other what the umpires told me yesterday that umpired all different levels, and I'm talking like college and minor league plus, was yes, that is true. But since it was where the player touched the ball, and with the ball being in a what is considered a plane, the line goes up forever to determine the plane. If at any point in time that ball is touching that plane while it's touched by a player, it's fair. So based on Major League Baseball's rule book and based on the handbook, which basically are the two things that contradict each other, as we mentioned yesterday, they have to fix said rule.
And that's what I said. I texted you that after you said what was in the handbook. I said, the rule is the rule.
Yep.
Unless it's in the umpire's manual.
Unless the handbook, which is different than the rule book.
The rule is not the rule.
I mean, if you go on social media, you still have like there's a scorekeeper that's on there that is defending their point. I will say, Major League Baseball has not released a statement on it.
No, they have not.
All we got was Ben Verlander talked to a guy, and then some representatives at the Padres said an MLB spokesperson said they got it wrong, but they didn't go into detail of why it was wrong. So I'm telling you, the fair foul thing. I went on the air yesterday to defend the umpires in a sense of okay, you want to get mad at something, get mad at the rules for being so poorly written where you have all these different scenarios. And by the way, if you go back over the last 5 years, that play has happened at least 3 times.
Yeah.
It's been ruled fair every single time. Do I think it's a fair ball? Of course not.
Happened to the Mets against the Pirates, and that was what reminded me that Miguel Rojas was the manager of the Mets at one point.
It happened with the Yankees and the Royals.
Yes.
Bobby Witt Jr. was on the Royals. It's not even that long ago. The one with the Yankees and the Royals is worse because it's actually completely away from the line. I'm not wrong about anything. I never said the ball was supposed to be fair. I said, according to the rules, they got the call right based on what the rules are.
Can we get back to the main overarching thing that everyone seems to be forgetting about Monday night is that
the Padres won?
They still won the game.
I can't believe the amount of hate. Dude, I got so many DMs cursing me, saying how much of a POS I am, saying how arrogant I am. It's just nonstop yesterday. And it's look, man, just trying to view it from a neutral perspective instead of looking at a lens of being an upset Padres fan. It's it doesn't even matter. They won. It's well, I care about Mason Miller. What do you care about Mason? Mason Miller doesn't even care. Who cares? I mean, there's people that have taken the time out of their day to send me a message about how much of a POS I am because I defended the umpires. And hey, you know what? I can see why they made that decision. I can see why they decided to rule that. It seems like that's the correct ruling.
Let's just say, and I see it, Daniel Kirkpatrick, we're mad for Miller, not the game.
You're probably more mad than Mason Miller is.
Let's just say, in a fantasy world, that ball is ruled foul. And then the next pitch
is a home run.
Exactly.
Right. And we're mad for Miller. He still gave up the amount of singles that he gave up.
He still gave up runs.
Right.
He still threw a wild pitch that caused a run to score. That wasn't that run. So, I mean, how much he has the record. He's got it.
I spoke about how crazy it was. Not that like it needs to like happen continuously. I mean, did you see the thing from like Clay Meredith? He was like, "Oh, cool, yeah, great."
Yeah, exactly.
He was like, "It's a deal." I mean, he got the record. He got his record.
Yeah, he still has it. He's got the record.
And guess what? He can start a new streak.
He
can
is
still
that
start a
good.
new streak.
He is that good, guys. He could do it again.
I mean, it's crazy. Some of the stuff, like, it's just ridiculous. It's just like, and it's always from people that like don't want to put their name or their face on it. They go hide and stuff. It's like it makes me feel good. I get to talk. I get to belittle somebody as much as possible. And whatever. I mean, you can have your takes. I still look at the rules, and based on what umpires have told me, because I've had multiple umpires tell me that that's a fair ball, I'm going to say the same thing. That's a stupid rule. It needs to be fixed. I could see why they called it fair. That's what I said. Yes, that's what I said yesterday. But people just wanted me to just crush the umpires for no reason. It didn't help that Ello said I was an idiot yesterday either. So it's like, hey, man, I'm trying the best I can to try to give you a neutral perspective on things when at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. But whatever. All right, let's talk about today's game for the Padres. Obviously, scoring a run in the first inning seems to be very important for this team because they haven't done it a lot. And if we want to get the offense going, I think it starts from the top of the order in Jackson Merrill today. I really do. I think that was a good decision for the Padres. I'd love to see the Padres be able to give him a extended amount of time batting leadoff for sure. But to me, I think you got to be able to get the top of the order going to help everybody else out in the batting order. And again, I think Fernando's hitting the ball hard. He continues to hit the ball hard. Hit the ball hard yesterday. That was the other DM I got yesterday. You know when Fernando hit that line drive to left field? Remember that? He hit it like 118 miles an hour or 100 and whatever miles an hour. He torched it to left field. Oh, yeah, that was
108. Yep.
Yeah, 108 miles an hour right at the left fielder. Right at the left field. The guy catches the ball. Immediate DM on Facebook Messenger. Facebook Messenger. Tatis got to go, man. What a bum. 108 mile an hour. 108 miles. He's got to go. And I was like, I saw the DM and I saw the time. And I'm sitting there and I wasn't paying attention. I was working. I was too busy answering all these other DMs about like a stupid rule that doesn't even matter. And I asked my girlfriend, I'm like, did Fernando do something incredibly stupid in the last 5 minutes? She was like, no. Did he make an error? Did he strike out in his last at bat? She's like, no. What did he do? He hit the ball at the left fielder. I'm like, oh, the one where he hit like 108 miles an hour. I'm like, what? I get he's not hitting home runs, guys, but I would much rather have him, if he's not going to hit home runs, hitting the ball over 100 miles an hour. I will take that almost every single time, Frank. Almost every single time.
I mean, you can tell he is locked in. He's hitting the ball well. He's seeing the ball well. It's just he's doing the same exact thing that Xander was doing last year. He's just hitting it at people. And that comes around. I don't know if you guys have noticed how well Xander Bogaerts is doing right now. But Fernando's got that Xander luck right now. It's going to turn. He'll be fine.
What about Jake Cronenworth? More patience. I feel bad for Jake, though, because last night he hit a seed.
Yes.
Absolute seed to right field. He pulled it, and Suzuki made a diving catch. Mm-hmm. I mean, that...
Yeah, that was just unlocking.
When I saw that happen, I was like, Jake wants... I mean, maybe he did. Maybe he went in the clubhouse. I would have gone to the clubhouse and just destroyed everything. Just everything. I mean, you got to see a little bit of the process working for Jake last night on that swing. And it was just like, oh man, sometimes you need something to fall. He needs like a bloop or something to get going.
I found it funny. I was in the radio booth for a little bit before the game, and Boog Shambi was in there, and the Cubs television broadcaster, and Jesse was giving him some like notes on Jake. Said, by the way, the one inning that Jake has played in the major leagues, he was in the overshift playing in right field, so he really wasn't even playing third base. He was playing like a really deep second. So yesterday was really his first bit of major league experience actually at third base, and he didn't do too bad either.
No, I thought he was fine. I mean, the guy came up as a shortstop. He's got to be fine defensively. I think he had a little bit of a mental, brain fart on Sunday in Mexico City on that one play. I mean, it's going to happen. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that he's not doing well. And I think that just starts to get on it. It just starts to wear players down a little bit. So hopefully Jake can snap out of it a little bit. I mean, maybe batting him seventh can give him a different approach, than maybe he's trying to do at the number 9 spot of flipping the order back to the top. But the Padres are going to need him eventually. I mean, they're going to need him to help this team out.
That was also really rough to see that ball just go right through the wickets of Ty France too. I think that was the third inning. That wasn't great. That was rough to watch.
That wasn't great. Is that the inning that led to runs or no?
No,
that was a different inning.
That was the third. If it was the third inning, then no. It was second and third with 2 out, I think. Or second and third with 1 out, and Buehler got out of it.
Padres are trying to not lose consecutive games since the Giants series in early April. They have not lost consecutive games since early April, where they're on an 18-6 run right now in the month of April. This is from some of the tidbits from Kevin Acey's newsletter. Only 7 left-handed starters faced all season for the Padres, by the way. MLB low, 202 plate appearances against lefties. That's not bad news, considering the fact that the Padres did not do well against those guys last year.
A lot of them were on the opening homestand, too.
Right.
You saw Skubal, you saw Webb on that homestand.
Which makes me now think that are the Padres not very good against that this year? I mean, they had to go against Valdez and Skubal, and like last night they lost too. I mean, that's something else to monitor and pay attention to, I think, with the left-handed starters, for the Padres. But anyway, other tidbits for you. Ty France is now 6 for 11 with 8 RBIs in the last 3 games, 317 average and 998 OPS. We talked about this a couple of days ago, but when you look at what the Padres had done, like when you look at like where guys are having success, sometimes they have success because they're batting lower or because they're spot starting. I don't know how long you can keep Ty France like not playing. I mean, I feel like you need him in the lineup almost every single night right now. He's in the lineup again today. We got another 2 knocks.
Oh, he is? I thought I must have been. Oh, yeah, he's playing first base. I thought there was Sheets playing first base there for a second.
No, he's got the day off, I think.
Yeah, no, but for France, yeah, you kind of you have to shoehorn him into the lineup now. Like you have to make room for him with how hot he's been.
The Padres against left-handed starters are actually doing very well.
It's also small.
7 games.
Yeah.
They're hitting 280 with a 801 OPS. You know what? Maybe they got to face more left-handed starters. Get the lefties back out there. You know why? Because they picked up Miguel Andujar. Before we move any further, we do need to pause 15 seconds for station identification. Braden Surprenant Show, Standing Over Sports Station 97 through the Fan.
KWFN and KWFN HD1 San Diego.
Hey, it's Chris Ella from Gwynn and Chris. We talk a lot of baseball, but we talk a lot about all sports. Listen for yourself. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 97.3 The Fan.
And Odyssey Sports Station.
He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant, broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios for our 5 minutes of the new lunchtime hour. Bold Flavors, 2 locations, Sereno Valley and inside Balboa Park's Natural History Museum.
I'm waiting for the tacos. Where are the damn tacos at?
We're waiting for Jeremiah to come back. Sounds like his velo's been getting back up there.
Yes,
on
that's
his rehab assignment, which is great news.
Yeah, that's what I've seen. And also, by the way, I sent this to you last night. By the way, for Derek and La Mesa. Did you see? I sent it to you. Anthony Volpe getting sent down on a rehab assignment. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
going from getting re-signed from AAA to AA on a rehab assignment for the next Derek Jeter. That's fantastic.
Yeah, he hasn't really lived up to the hype. They overhyped him. That's the other problem too in this day. There's just so much overhyping going on with some of these players. You see with the NFL draft, with like quarterbacks getting taken.
Oh, by the way, that happened.
Yeah, that happened over the weekend. I thought it was a boring draft in general, like going into the weekend. And I love the NFL draft. I mean, I obviously didn't have any time to watch it, but There wasn't like, big quarterbacks coming off the board. There wasn't like, it was kind of like it was a depth draft. That's great when you have a favorite NFL team. I don't. So I was not as inclined. I was stoked for the TCU kids that got drafted, obviously for the San Diego State Aztecs that got drafted. And then of course, we did have one of my former players got picked up as an undrafted free agent, which was great. And I think we had 6 or 7 San Diego high school kids, former San Diego high school kids, sign with teams or get drafted.
Very nice.
I know Grayson Holton got drafted out of Oklahoma. He went to St. Augustine High School, and we had another draft pick that I'm blanking on at the moment. But I think we had, in addition to that, 5 undrafted free agents, which was also great. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get out to Dexter in Spring Valley. Dexter, what's going on, man?
Fellas, okay, so 2 quick points. Number 1, the next time LO tries to throw you under the bus like that, when you call him out, just tell him to mind his own lawn. And then, because that's basically what he sounds like. He sounds like he's yelling at you to stay off his lawn. And then number 2, here's a wacky, out-of-the-box kind of outside-the-box thought, okay? Now, most people would be going, fire this guy, fire that guy. No. In the case of the hitting instructor or hitting coach, keep him. But Preller is prone to hiring, quote-unquote, consultants left and right. Why doesn't he hire Fernando Tatis Sr. as a consultant? Because whenever Junior calls him or hangs out with him and stuff, when he comes back, he does better offensively and defensively. If he can do that for Junior, why can't he do that for other members of the Padres? I'm just saying, because, Junior got his baseball IQ from his dad, and his dad was pretty sharp, too.
It's an interesting topic, Dexter. We might have to put that on hold and talk about it tomorrow. Obviously, he knows his son the best out of probably all the baseball players. Game 3 of the 3-game series at Petco Park. Coming up next, the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show with Sam Levitt. He's Frank Marquez. You have Braden Surprenant. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Padres baseball coming up next.